Are you waiting to see the result of my 2-worm experiment that I started in late October, early November? I started the experiment by putting 2 worms in this compost, and I wanted to see what would happen over time. But after a few months I came in here and I could not find one of the worms, so I added another worm. So in all, if I were to able to find the one that's missing, I would have 3 worms in here. Well, I just decided to go through the bin. There's one thing that I notice is consistent with this bin. Even though I moisten it when I moisten all the other bins, this one always tend to dry out more than the others. So these are the worms. So in all, I'm expecting a maximum of 3 worms in here. But let's put these down and count them so you can see how many worms I found. So this little guy is 1. This is 2. This makes 3. And there's a 4th. One thing is consistent with this is that these worms are fat, but I have never been able to find a cocoon in here. Neither have I been able to find any form of hatchlings in this bin. Could be that the bin is too dry, and most of the time when I come in here to look for the worms, in fact every time I look for the worms in here, when I find them, I put them in the same location together. I never was able to find them together. They're always apart. Now, what I learned from this experiment, worms do like to have a lot of space, yes, but if there is too much space for the quantity of worms that you have in your worm bin, the chances of them meeting up to mate, to reproduce, is much smaller. So you still have to be careful of how much space you provide for your worms, depending on the amount of worms that you have in your bin. So I'm going to moisten this bin, and I'm going to add 6 more worms to it, make it up to 10, and then I'm going to keep on caring for the bin. I'm going to be adding some bedding, so shredded leaves and shredded cardboard to the bin, and add 6 more worms to it, and then we'll see what happens with that, if it is still considered to be too much space for just 10 worms, because this bin is almost 2 feet long and a little bit over 12 inches wide, and the material that I have in here is roughly 3 inches high. So that's the content that they have in here. 3 feet by roughly 12, little over 12, and almost 2 feet long. So we'll see. And when I say by 12, I mean 12 inches and not 12 feet. So 1 by 2 by 3 inches or 0.25 feet is the volume of material that they have in here. So we will see what they do with that after I add the 6 more worms to it. So I've had it in the compost, well, not the compost, the shredded leaves and the shredded cardboard, shredded paper, and these are the 6 worms that I'm going to be adding. So I'm just going to moisten the bin and then let them do their thing. I'm not going to cover them, they will go down by themselves. As this bin is very dry, I'm going to give it quite a bit of moisture. Now that should be enough. So I'm going to be giving you an update. I'm not going to be feeding this bin, not with food scraps anyway, not yet. Allow them to enjoy the new environment a little bit first. and then I'll come back and let you see how these guys are doing in a few weeks or a month from now. So if you enjoy the update, then please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, a time for grow.